Baby, if you don't know, you better ask somebody where they need to be at on a Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, baby. They need to be all up on and in and through here at We Shine Media Spotlight, baby, because we are shining a bright, beautiful light on the Becoming Her series, which is all of the co-authors who are part of her, the anthology. Unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. You hear me? That's what it means. And that's what we standing here, baby. We are standing 10 toes down on business that we are unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Try us if you want to and watch. We're going to show it every single time with every single person that had a part to be in this book. And so I need y'all to make sure you come on in, tag somebody, let them know that we are here. We are about to do the doggone thing. I'm finna share this out because y'all know my little intro was short. So, every time I get ready to pull up, it's like, hey. And I'm like, still trying to share this broadcast. So, bear with me for a minute because I need people to get on here. It's Friday night. I know you probably just got off work, probably just walked in the house. Girl, take your bra off, your wig off, take off what you need to take off so you can relax and get into this because some gems will be dropped and some wisdom shared. And we're gonna have some just good girl talk, girl conversations. I need you to get in and get on it because it's about to be a powerful conversation. So, and if you've been tuning in, all of the conversations have been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm just here for it and I'm excited about it. And I want y'all to get ready because I'm getting ready to tag in my girl so y'all can see what's up, who's going to be on here. I don't even know if I announced her last night because I think I was trying to gut punch you so you can be surprised because she's no stranger to We Shine Media Solutions. I'm telling you, she's dropped books. Honey, she's been on projects in anthologies. She has done the thing. She's out here on her own podcast show, wowing people and helping them to navigate the lane of grief. So let me tell y'all, we all experience grief in some portion or part of our lives. And so to have somebody that can help you to understand it, to work through it, to come out on the other side still, being okay and still knowing that even though that person's not here, it's something about the essence of them that still stays with you. So I'm gonna let her look because I'm trying to tell all her business, but let her get on here so she can tell it herself. So let me bring on to the virtual stage, none other than grief coach Lakecia Lashun, baby. Listen, come on here. Lakecia.
Hey,
Hey,
how
how
you
are
doing?
you?
I'm great. How are you? I missed
Fantastic
you,
and
girl.
phenomenal, baby. It's Friday, honey. What you say? Listen, I don't know if people got paid today or not, but it's Friday. And I need y'all to
Yes.
have this Friday energy, honey, up in here because every day, look, I can live all my days like it's Friday. I want every day to be like Friday, baby. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Absolutely.
Look, even if it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I want to live it like it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
You better.
You
You better.
better. Look, that's what I'm talking about. People who be in alignment and in agreement with how you want to move. So, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Honey, awesome. Looking forward to this conversation because we have, Lakeisha and I have done so much together, but at the same time, it's been popping and busy. And so, we've been just doing our things, missing each other. So, this is like a catch up, good girlfriend catch up too at the same doggone time. So, Christina said, that's right, honey, done. Got comfy and ready. What you say, Christina, baby? I'm sitting up in here. I ain't gonna tell you my business about what I got on, what I'm doing, but just know that I feel real good and I'm about to listen to this broadcast. Yes. Kendall, how are
Yes.
you? Good evening, sir. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in. Miss Doris, thank you for being
Hey,
here.
Miss Doris.
Yes, baby, honey, come on in. Let me let these ladies know that we are here so they can come on and support for Lakeisha.
Absolutely.
So, for you being a part of this, because you were fresh off your own anthology, what
Mm.
made you decide to be a part of Becoming Her?
When I saw that title, I hit Shamika S. Marie up and I said, y'all doing this book? She said, yeah. I said, y'all didn't tell me about it.
Mm,
What the title alone, it was captivating and I embodied it.
mm,
I embodied it. That title was everything for me. Um, at that point, when the title, when the book was released, the anthology was put together, I was in a transition of my life. I've been on my healing journey for quite some time now.
yeah.
You know that. I've been through the grief, the you name it. You've been there with me, so you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but at that point in my life, it was a defining moment. Like, okay, you've overcome a lot.
Yes.
You've overcome a lot. Now, who are you today? Who are you now? I'm her. Period.
Period. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Boom. Hey, and come
Yes.
on with it because people think they know you. You grew up together, so they know you from junior high school. They know you from high school. They know you from wherever. And they think they know who you are. But the reality is, you may know of me and you may remember some things about me, but who I am today, baby, I'm a good grown woman now. And I've had experiences and I've had things that have, shaped me and changed me. So even in you writing books, Lakecia, I don't know that people really knew all of the things that you shared in this chapter, did they?
No, no, they did not. Um,
Mm,
a lot of people don't really know me. You know, they know
mm-hmm,
of me. They may
mm-hmm,
have known me in a certain area of my life,
mm-hmm,
but they don't truly know me. And so with this title, um, it allowed me to focus in not on my grief.
mm-hmm,
It allowed me not to focus in on anyone else. You
mm-hmm,
know, this was for me. Writing this chapter was for me. It allowed me to focus on me. So,
mm-hmm. And that's the powerful thing, I think. I think Christine and I, we were sharing about, it's so cathartic to write. And
yes.
when you're writing, sometimes, you're reliving things and you're remembering things. And sometimes you push things down so far, you like, yeah, I forgot about that. And it
Mhm.
comes up and now you got to deal with it. But in the process of that is growth.
It's growth. Absolutely.
So what was the reception from people who didn't know all the things that you shared?
Clutching their pearls, like, girl.
It is symbolic. Yeah, get my purse on. Let me. So what
And
do you
I
feel
get
about
it
that?
a lot. I get it a lot, especially from elderly women who knew me as a child.
Mm-hmm,
Um, and a lot of them say, we always knew it was something about you. You had an old soul, you been here before, things of that
mm-hmm,
nature. But when people actually got to read that chapter and saw me in my essence, I say naked, that saw me
mm-hmm,
naked,
mm-hmm.
it was an eye opener for them. A lot of people just stared at me with amazement, like, girl, how?
How?
Yeah.
How? Because, so let me give you the title of her chapter. The title is I Didn't Break, I Became. That right there was good. I didn't break, I became. But then she says, still healing, still rising, still her.
Yeah.
So that speaks to, yes, I'm here, but there's still layers, still evolving, still something more.
Yes.
I didn't stop. You know what I'm saying? I became, but I still didn't stop. Like, yes, I became her, but it keeps going and going. And so, hey, Crystal, Christina said, people know of you, but not your story, not the full
Exactly.
story. They know the version that you give them until you decide, until they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I always took pride in my strength.
Mm-hmm,
You know that. Because it was it was drilled in me as a little girl. You so strong. You so strong. So I took on that pride of my strength
Yeah.
being me suppressing my feelings, me smiling when I'm falling apart on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
me
Mm-hmm.
hiding from my own truth, you know, me masking and just going through the world like I can carry everything, carrying the weight of the world on my
Mm.
shoulders. And that little girl on the inside was dying. She was dying, you
Is
know.
that not
So,
something?
yeah.
I shared on the Empowered Morning Show yesterday, I believe we were talking, and I was saying that we don't think about the little girl or, Kendall's watching, so the little boy inside that dealt with some things when you were young that at that time you didn't even know how to process it.
Mm,
So, you kind of internalize, right? Well,
absolutely.
when you become an adult and you start piling things on. Just imagine if you had a little kid with you, you wouldn't say, "Oh, here, hold this box, hold this bag, hold this suitcase, hold these other 5, 10 boxes." You wouldn't load a little child up with all these bags and
Mhm.
boxes and suitcases and things like that. You wouldn't give that and then you just walk around like it's nothing going on. But in
Right.
reality, that's what we
That's
do
what we
to
do.
the internal child that's inside that hasn't healed from some of the things that happened, the trauma or the drama or the toxicity or the abandonment and rejection. All the things that Crystal said in her book is on the other side of ugly, the
Mhm.
ugly side of ugly.
Yes.
And we don't look at it like that. But that little child is like, I'm tired. I'm broke down. I need somebody to help me, please.
Yes. And the reality of it is we always say go do some healing,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't realize if you grew up in a world of dysfunction or trauma, you don't even know what healing looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the word healing, I understood, but how in the, excuse my language, how in the hell do I heal? Where do I start? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and the reality of it is 80% of the world probably still stuck there.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
the reality for the average person is what I deal with every day is my normal.
Mhm.
So you tell me I need to heal from something that I've normalized as this is
Realize.
just how it is.
Yes.
This is just what we do.
Mhm.
We may cuss each other out and call each other the B word and different things like that. And then people say, like, is that not harsh for you? But then if that's what you're used to, if that's what you're seeing, if that's the music that you hear,
Yes.
then boom, that's your normal. So
That's your
when somebody else
norm.
comes in and says, oh my God, and they're clutching their pearls like, oh, well, how do y'all live like this? And you're
Mhm.
looking at them like, girl, what you talking about? How we
What's
live like this? We turned up, we having a great time because you don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. And then when you over here suffering from this illness and that illness and this illness or this mental breakdown or this
Mm-hmm.
mental breakdown, and you don't know where the root of the problem is because you don't
Yes.
know, and it helped me see people differently and give people much more grace. Um,
Mm,
it give them grace because you don't know what that person been through,
true.
and everyone is not mentally capable of handling the things that were thrown at them. See,
Mm-hmm.
society tells us it's a right way and it's a wrong way to do this, and a right way to do that, and a wrong way to do this. But in reality, we're not all built the same.
We're not.
So all rules don't apply to everyone.
That's
And
good.
if I would have stayed, Angela, um, in my trauma, if I would
Mm-hmm.
have stayed stuck where I didn't know how to heal myself, you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me right now.
Mm,
No.
mm-mm, at all. Because you know how and let's just keep it real. That's how shows like Snapped,
Mhm.
that's how all these shows come and people are fans of it because you know that you're one straw that broke the camel's back situation from
Yeah.
snapping yourself
Yes.
because of things that you've been through. And I'm gonna go back up and get Crystal's comment because she said healing looks foreign when you don't know what should be healed.
Exactly.
And that's for a lot of people. You gotta think about it. There are little girls who've been molested when they were 5 years old. How do
Hmm.
they how do they know whether or not that's good or bad? I mean, something inside of them may be like, this is all I've known since I'm 5 or 7.
Hmm.
They're so young to have that kind of experience.
Yeah.
Or when you say, okay, well, my mom died when I was a baby, or my grandmother, when you're young,
Hmm.
then you've had a hole in your heart for so long that how do you know how to navigate from that? And
Yeah.
you've had, when I tell you, a overabundance of things to happen that you've had to process and deal with.
Yes. And another thing I want to make sure that we touch on with that is, um, when we think of trauma, or when we think of dysfunction, or when we think of things of that nature, um it don't always look the same for everybody. It doesn't mean that you had to grow up in a household that was full of turmoil. You could have grew up
Right.
in a loving household and still receive
Mm-hmm.
some trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to stop putting spinning a narrative when it comes down to trauma, because when I talk about my trauma, on the outside looking in, um from the world, they probably thought, "Girl, you grew up in this household, and are you good? You don't know
Mm-hmm.
what went on in those four walls." You
Exactly.
know? So, I wanted to make sure that I touched on that, because healing is for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just not one sided. It's just not, oh, well, I didn't go through something as bad as you, so I don't need to heal. That's a lie.
Right.
That's a
Right.
lie. Yeah.
Right. Because whatever your journey is, however you internalize it, however you receive it,
Mhm.
it changes you in some way.
Mhm.
You think about somebody who was happy and fun as a little kid and did stuff, and then something traumatic happens, and then
Mhm.
they shut down, and then they don't talk as much, and then they don't want to go anywhere. Even if nothing changes and they grow up until an adult, that still stays with them. How they look at stuff, how they process stuff, how somebody can talk to them, and then they're looking like, oh, I'll blow your brains out. And you wonder, like, what did I do or say to get that kind of reaction? You don't know.
Perfect
Everybody's story.
example. My children, I've always given them the space to be who they are. So we have these open dialogues, and I love
Mhm,
it. But my children grew up in the same household with the same
mhm,
mama, and have completely different experiences. And I just be sitting there like, wow, you know, um, it's just amazing to know that this is true. You can
mhm,
grow up in the same household and have two total different experiences. So
mhm,
don't ever discredit someone else's truth, because, like I said, we're not all built the same. We're uniquely
mhm.
and wonderfully made for a reason.
Yes, Cynthia said that's her and her sister. And people are so quick to be judgmental, and they're so quick to discount somebody else's experience. And the
Yes,
reality is, just because you don't see it that way doesn't mean that's how they received it. That's
exactly.
why it's so important to give people grace. And that's why it's so important to forgive somebody, because a lot of times you think, oh, it ain't that serious. But for them, it really is.
It really was.
Christy
Exactly.
said deep rooted issues from a child will grow to treat issues.
Ooh, talk about it, Chris. Talk about it. Yes, ma'am.
Lakeisha, in your journey, because for you, what you've done is you've taken your pain and turned it into your purpose
Yes.
to help other people deal with the things that you had to figure out how to deal with.
Yes.
What did that look like for you? What did that how did you close that gap to say, you know what, okay, I've been through a lot, but let me help somebody else who may be still struggling. because I'm still struggling. I'm still dealing. I'm still, like you said, still healing, still
Yeah.
becoming, still all that.
I feel like it was my calling, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma used to say when I was little, girl, you need to have a halfway house and a soup kitchen because you want to help everybody. And that was true. Even
Mm-hmm.
as a child, I befriended the not so cool kids. Or if a child from a foreign country came, I was their friend. Like I helped all of, that was just me. Um the latest one.
She said, help her before Sparkle yell at her, baby, because she's so funny.
Yes. And so going through what I went through my entire life, I always felt like I went through alone.
Mhm.
And so I vowed that I will put myself in a position to help others not have to experience what I experienced alone. And like I say, I really feel like it's my calling because no matter how much I try to walk away from it, God say, come on back. Yeah, this you. And we have to understand that our experiences are not for us. Our experiences are to give us the credibility, the knowledge, the tools, the tips to be able to help someone. That's what your testimony is,
Oh, come
you
on.
know. So when I shifted my perspective and stopped looking at my experiences like they were done to me to hurt me, and it took me to start to step into my purpose to do that and said, okay, God, so I went through all this grief, all this pain, so that when I get up on this platform and talk about it, I know what I'm talking about. I see you, God. Okay. All right.
What you say? Look, okay, it's getting clear. It's getting clear.
Uh-huh.
I'm understanding because God don't just show you the whole thing and say, "Oh, this is
Mhm.
what it's gonna look like. You're gonna go through this, but this is what it's gonna look like at the
Mhm.
end." It's a process to get there.
The process. Yeah. And that process wasn't easy.
Ooh, Humble said your test became your testimony.
Absolutely.
Well, they say
Absolutely.
your test is your testimony. Your mess is your message.
It's your message. Yes. Absolutely.
So, Lakeisha, when going through this and experiencing things that you've
Mhm.
experienced, how did you self care in the process? How did you keep from losing your mind and still be able to be a mother, still be able to be a caretaker, still be able to, function, even if it wasn't 100% function?
Yeah. Um, Transparency. I was functioning um on autopilot. I was functioning off of repetition. I wasn't truly functioning. But no one noticed it because I was still getting up doing the physical activities of my
Mm-hmm.
everyday norm. But I had checked out mentally,
Wow.
emotionally. I
Wow.
had completely checked out. But no one recognized because I was still doing what I needed to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so my self-care journey started with my choice, my free will choice to heal. And so books, reading and writing has always been something that I used even as a tool as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to research. And I just recently found out that researching is a part of my human design. So it all ties in together. Um,
Wow.
but I started to research healing. I started to research things about grief, and I just made a conscious decision to heal. I no longer wanted to be in the space that I was in. And so that was my first step at self-care and self-love, was making my conscious decision. And then from there I started to take the steps of, Angela, baby, I who comb her, who put some clothes on, who. girl, bye. You can get out of my face with that. But over time, as I started to work through, I started to get the energy,
Yeah.
the ability to get up and care for myself and comb my hair and brush my teeth and wash my face and and I will be honest with you, it was easier to hide at home because I work from home. My finances was still coming in. So working from home allowed me to stay in my box and no one really recognized it. So newsflash, if y'all have some friends, some strong friends that work from home, check on them people. Check on them.
I'm glad that you said that because you know what? COVID did two things. One, it exposed that you don't really like the folks that you say you love. You when
Mhm.
all of y'all was at home together, y'all was looking at each other like, child, please let us out of here because baby, I don't even really want to be here. This ain't for
Yeah.
me. Then
Yeah.
you had people who said, you know what? Hmm, I'm going to get creative and I'm going to start doing some things that I've never been able to do. And that's it was a launch of a lot of entrepreneurs. It was a launch of, a lot of podcasts and books and things that people maybe had thought about, but maybe just never took the time because they didn't have time, to really tap into those things.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, for people who were running from themselves,
We had to go within.
hey, at that point, you at the house having to be quiet, shelter in place, and you can't rip and run. You can't run to work. You can't run to the gym. You can't outrun you
Hmm.
when there's nowhere for you to go.
Ooh, and we can talk about 2020, baby, because 2020,
2020.
that was the making. I'll say the making now, because we could say the making or the breaking. I didn't break. That was the making of Keisha that's sitting here in front of you today, because I had to go within. And while everyone was worried about COVID was the least of my concerns.
Mm.
I didn't think about COVID. The only thing COVID was doing was stopping me from getting to that hospital where my fiance was.
Mhm.
And it didn't stop me after I cut up. And I was the only visitor he had for months.
Yeah.
Um, COVID, I lost my best friend when COVID started. And then I lost my fiance in the midst of it. And
Mhm.
then as I thought I'm getting my stride back together, my brother took me out, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then my other brother took me out, and my cousin. So it was like
When
COVID.
I tell you back to back to back, so I want you to, because even though you're talking, I don't think people really understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I need you to hit the timeline again on the stream, because when we talk about, let's talk about grief. First and foremost, let's clear it up and say that it's not always about death.
No.
Grief doesn't always have to be because somebody has passed on. There are
Absolutely.
multiple reasons and ways why you experience grief.
Yes.
Lakeisha has had probably, I want to say, just about everything that you could think of that could create a reason for you to have grief. You had to deal and process with it. But I want you to start from the first and then run it all the way through so people can understand why we say, baby, you have had a lot on you. Really.
Well, I'm gonna start from 2019, because if I start from the beginning, we're gonna be here all night. So, but I'm gonna start from 2019.
Okay.
September of 2019, my house caught fire and I lost everything, which forced me to have to relocate back home, because not only did I lose everything, my grandfather, being a caregiver for him having dementia, it's not good for him to, it wasn't good for him to keep bouncing back and forth. Um, so when I got here, I got settled here back home in Memphis, Tennessee. Um, that was February 19th, 2020 is when I got the phone call that my best friend passed away. Um, didn't know what happened. It was sudden. I just got off the phone with her, had a 3-hour conversation the night before.
Mm.
So that, of course, that's left me with a lot of unanswered questions.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of that, I was dealing with some things with my niece, you know, and still being a caregiver. And May 19th, the man that I loved walked in that kitchen at 10 a.m. and said, I'm about to go do some stuff and I'll be back. I said, okay. And he called me at 2:08 and said, I'm on my way home. And I said, okay. And at 2:32, his mama called my phone screaming and hollering. He had been hit by a car. No one told me where it was, but I don't know, something in me figured it out and I took off running out the door. And when I got there, you know, I had hope. I had hope that everything was okay. It was a few broken bones. He gonna heal. He gonna come on home. Well, that was not the case. He had a traumatic brain injury. We found out that he had bleeding on the brain, and they had to rush him to emergency surgery. And from there, they gave him a 2% chance of living. And so that was grief beyond grief because he was my main help and support with my grandfather. But not only that, having to sit and pray over this man, and the doctor is telling you, would you like to live like this? There is no hope. I have 4 doctors surrounding me telling me, let him go. And here I am fighting for his life. But in the midst of that, things started to reveal itself. And have you ever sat and prayed for somebody, and in the same sentence you want to kill them? Because everything that's coming to the light. So that's multiple layers of grief within one, you know. Come through the screen. Look, I'm hugging you back. Thank you.
I know, right?
And so going through that process, my brother showed up for me in a major way. My brother did not live in the same city that I lived in. He was still in Texas and I was back home. But he made sure he called his sister every morning, you know, and he was with me throughout that because I had no one else to turn to. No one understood what I was going through. You know, me and my children went through that, and I'll never discredit their grief because my kids experienced a lot of the things that I experienced, you know? And so October, my mama just had this spurt. I need to go see my son. Okay. So we made the plans to go see my brother. But I bagged out at the last minute because of work. And they went, my mom and my children, they went the Halloween October, the Halloween weekend, and saw my brother. They came home on a Sunday. We got the call at 10:21 p.m. on that Monday. My brother was deceased. That took me out of here because my mama only had two. It was me and him. That was my survival party. That was my twin, my everything, you know. So that really took me under. But in the midst of that, what added to the grief with him was not knowing what happened to him, not getting the justice that he deserved because, you know, he was a black man with a record. Oh, he deceased, case closed. That's literally how they did my brother. And so with me fighting, they started to treat my family as like we were the criminals because we were pushing back and asking for answers. So that was adding on to my grief. I done lost my brother and then I gotta go through this process. I can't grieve my brother. And so my cousin came next. My cousin and my childhood friend, they were together in a car and the car was shot up on the expressway. Now, I go from talking to him on New Year's, reminiscing about my brother, because we all grew up together, same household growing up, you know. 8 days later, I get a call from his wife. Have you seen him? No, we looking for him, and then he's in the morgue as a John Doe. Him and his best friend, our childhood friend. So no answers, no questions answered with that added to it. And so by that point, I think I was numb because I remember going to his services. Both funerals were that day. So I went to both services, came home. And, at that point, I was just like done, really, mentally, whatever. But prepared to get up for work on that Tuesday. I didn't work that Monday, but that Tuesday morning, I got up to get ready for work and I hear my daughter scream. I can't take no more at this point, but the scream that came from my child, I need to know what's going on. And she said, Mom, look at this. And it was a news article, it was a news video, and it was a car. And I immediately recognized the car. And I said, is that John's car? John is my other brother. I called my dad and I said, Dad, have you seen the news? And he said, no. And the minute he said no, I hear his mom scream to the top of her lungs. And I knew that was my brother. I honestly, to this day, don't know how I made it. Only by the grace of God.
Only by, and the crazy thing about it is, it didn't stop with just that. You still have more to go. So for those people who are like, what? Wow, huh? She's not done. That's what I'm saying. It for you to have went through all of that. I don't even know how you. I understand how you would just function off of muscle memory, like Humble Precious said. But
and I'm very transparent, and that's why I say healing in motion, because I heal in real time. These tears, I let them fall because I'm human. Yeah, because I have a title behind my name or in front of my name, it doesn't discredit the fact that I'm human and I'm still living through my grief. Grief is a never-ending journey. What added to my complexity with my brother, John, because my first brother was James, this was John. John was killed by the police. And the narrative was spent before the family was even notified to get ahead of it. They painted my brother as this irate young boy who attacked the police, and none of that was true. My brother started reaching out for help on a Thursday, and he said that he was laced through marijuana. He went to a hospital. The hospital sent him home to my dad's house. I remember my daddy calling me on that Friday and said, I told him, I said, call the police, because my brother was in his room. He wasn't bothering anybody. But when they called him to eat, my brother said he didn't want to eat because he felt like they had put something in the food. And so at that point, my daddy was like, what? Like, we weren't there putting nothing in your food. Like, but he knew something wasn't right. And so I said, Daddy, call the police to see if they can send a crisis intervention team or something. So he did that. But because my brother was 20, he had to voluntarily commit himself. We couldn't just say, take him, he need help, And so after that, my brother left. And so I hold guilt with both of my brothers. I hold guilt with James because I felt like I didn't get the opportunity to hug my brother one last time. He understood that I had to work. I get that, but I didn't get that physical touch of hugging my brother and him hugging me back one last time. With John, I felt like we could have done more, but honestly, we did what we could. with the resources that were available to us, because
Mhm.
even with him going to another police department that's in a county, well, in a city right outside of Memphis, they told him to go back to Memphis. But on the body footage, you can hear and see that they didn't take him serious. They thought he was joking. And so instead of giving up on himself, my brother was defeated, but he went to a cove and went to sleep in his car. He just wants to feel safe. He just
Mhm.
wanted to feel safe. And they spotted his car, approached him. When you're in fight or flight mode and something is already not right, you
Mhm.
know, he he chose to flee from the scene. He didn't hurt nobody, didn't attack nobody. He drove off. And from there, he was, of course, chased by the police. And it wasn't a high-speed chase. They were going 25 miles an hour. But
Mhm.
they cornered him on a dead-end street. And instead of calling crisis intervention or anything, SWAT was called. Now, how we go from police to SWAT? And SWAT chose to ram his car. And I have all of this on video. Um, ram his car, and I hear my brother screaming on the video, loud as clear, "Help! Help! Somebody! They're trying to kill me!" And SWAT takes one shot,
Mm.
and his demeanor to me was like, "Okay, it's over with. Let's go home." I had to watch this step by step by step. Um, I want to thank one state representative, and she's deceased now, but her daughter and me, we're very close. Um, that lady stood by me. I didn't trust a soul at this point. I've lost two brothers and don't know why or how, but that lady stood by me. Even when I told her I don't trust you, she stood by me, and I'm forever grateful for her.
Mhm.
She fought with me because they treated me once again. I'm the voice. I'm the radical in the family. I'm gonna speak out. And so they treated me as if I was the criminal, riding past my house, police. At one point I had to leave the city. You know that. I had to leave the city for a couple of weeks to let things die down. They withheld that information from us for a whole year and a month before they released what happened to my brother. And even then I reached out to Being Crump. I reached out to everyone. And you know that, Angela, you was right there through it all. No one would touch it because of the severity of it. Everyone told us we had a case, but no one wanted to take the case because of the severity of the case. And so ultimately, I chose my sanity because it's not gonna bring my brothers back. I chose my sanity. And so I stepped back. I stepped back. I stepped back and threw myself back into caregiving for my granddaddy.
Mhm.
I did.
Okay, Daddy.
Yeah, for kid daddy, and that journey was he was my strength. Even through the dementia, the congestive heart failure, you name it, like 24/7, we was together, you know? And he helped me more than he probably knew, even though he knew I was helping him, you know.
Mhm.
He helped me
Right.
more than he knew. And when he left me January 2024. And I sat with my granddaddy 10 days in my house, me and my daughter, and watched my granddaddy transition. Just me and my daughter. And it was snow on the ground, so the nurses couldn't get to us the way that they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But within that, it shifted my perspective on death.
Yeah.
I don't see it as something scary or final anymore. It's a
Mm.
beautiful thing. And I watched my grandfather transition from the feet up. You know, when he took his last breath, I was right there.
Mm.
But your body keeps score. And so everything that I've been through, Angela, my body was keeping score. And I remember waking up, preparing for work after my grandfather had passed away, trying to figure out where do I go from here. My kid's grown now, you know. My kid's grown. It's just me. Where do I go from here? And I sat down at that computer and I got hot. And I had a heart attack. 39 years old. And I went to the hospital. My daughter called the ambulance, my baby girl. And ladies, just because they say it doesn't register on an EKG, you know your body, you fight for your body. You fight for yourself.
For sure.
That EKG didn't register my heart attack. So guess what they did? They set me in the waiting room. But I know something ain't right. So I called my daughter. I said, well, they say it ain't a heart attack. Come get me. My oldest daughter. She comes and gets me. And I go to the house. I'm taking Tums. I'm eating them like candy. Nothing's helping. I'm trying to go to sleep, Angela. Can't go to sleep. And so I called the nurse's station in at another hospital. And she said, get to the hospital. I got up and drove myself to the other hospital. And when I got there, EKG didn't register. But that doctor said, do blood work. And when my blood work came back, they immediately admitted me in the hospital and took me straight upstairs because I had a heart attack. Your heart enzymes are supposed to be 2.0 or less. Mine was 6.3.
Wow.
So your body keeps score. And
Yes.
definitely all of that stress, anxiety, grief, everything that I had just suppressed,
Mhm.
it came to a head. And by the time I was 40, I had my second one, you know? um,
Mhm.
and so after the second one, because with the second one, I did have to have a procedure. I had to have the heart cath done. Um, and that was the first time that I really, truly felt like um, I was on the brink of dying. And
Yeah.
so I knew that was when I had to make a shift. And I had to put down everything and everybody else. And I had to pick Keisha up.
Mhm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because you know what we don't think about is the suppression of emotions has to go somewhere.
Yes.
So the more that you push it down and the more that you say, I'm okay,
Mhm.
and the more that you keep going, and the more that somebody says, how you feeling? And you're like, oh, I'm good. The emotions are either going to be released through tears, released through screams, released through, you know, fight in the air or whatever. But if you push it down, then it has nowhere to go but sits in your heart or sits on your lungs or in your stomach or wherever that goes, or all in your brain. But wherever it goes, it's going to attack
Yes.
all that, because we have all the like I said, endorphins and all the hormones and all that stuff. And it's going to eventually wear on your body.
Yes, absolutely. Most people don't know that your depression, grief, that's stored in your liver. That's stored in your liver. And that's something that I do teach. Well, I educate about
Mm-hmm.
with grief because you need to know what organs are being affected with the emotions that you are holding.
Mm.
And I had to do that assessment with myself. I had to learn how to articulate what emotion I was feeling, because we know anger, we know sadness, we know,
Mhm.
those
Because
are
you tend to think
given.
that that's it, but there are so many other
There's
nuances
so
of
many
stuff.
more. Yeah.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
love that you took all the things that you went through to educate yourself so that you can help somebody else
Yes.
before they get to that point.
Absolutely.
And that is so amazing that different parts of your body are specifically related to certain
Hmm.
emotions.
Yes, it is. So, even those good vibes, we gonna talk about them good vibes too.
Yes, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on back. Bring it on back. Bring it on back. Tamisha said that this year is amazing, eye-opening, bravery, and becoming her. Because the reality, full circle is that even now, in the midst of, you shedding tears and thinking about what has happened,
Yeah,
it didn't stop you from wanting to help somebody else in their grief journey. So let's
absolutely.
not grieve. That's the name of the podcast. But before we even do that, let me read your bio because I want to make sure we get this in.
Okay.
Lakecia Lashun is a grief author, speaker, podcast host, and healing advocate committed to transforming pain into purpose.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, she is a devoted mother, a woman of faith, and a two-time Amazon best-selling author. Lakecia is the visionary behind the Love Language of Grief series, author of Life Ain't Been No Sunshine
Mm.
and Caregivers Need Love Too, and the spearhead of the powerful collaborative project Men Grieve Too. As host of Let's Talk Grief with Lakecia podcast, she creates safe, restorative spaces for honest conversations about loss, identity, caregiving, and resilience. With a professional background in healthcare and leadership, Lakecia brings both lived experiences and compassion to every stage she graces. Her mission is simple, yet powerful, to remind others that grief is not a weakness. It is love that still speaks. Through storytelling and truth telling, she helps them heal out loud. I
Yeah.
want you to talk about love that still speaks because that's a beautiful way to think about your grief. Can you share
Absolutely.
how you came about that? How you came by that concept?
Absolutely. The love that still speaks. For me, grief is your expression of love for your loss. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
that loss may be, your grief is tied to that love that lives for it. And so when the love still speaks, it's just, of course, love language of grief, Angela. That came about. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this, Angela, but I'm gonna sit on it. Love language of grief came about. And so when volume 2 came about, everything that I do is intentional, and meaningful. And when the love still speaks is it was just a way of expressing that, the soul doesn't die. This was specifically about death.
Mm-hmm.
The soul doesn't die. Their energy transfers eternally. And so that is a tool and a coping mechanism for me to still speak to my loved ones as though they're still here. And so it just came full circle when the love still speaks. Everybody like, oh, it's beautiful, but I think people wanted it to be more deeper than what I entailed. But I was like, uh, I'm just me. So yeah, when the love still speaks was just basically continuing the conversation after the transition. Um,
Yeah.
it's some amazing, amazing people that wrote on that anthology with me. Amazing stories, beautiful stories. And not only did we talk about death, it's stories in there about mother wounds. It's stories
Mm,
in there about father wounds. It's stories in there about losing children, and
mm.
it's it's a really remarkable anthology. I have to. I'm learning to do this, so I have to take a moment to do this. I got to pop my collar
Yes, pop it, please, pop it.
because I had no idea Love Language of Grief Volume 1 or Volume 2 would be what they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Started with God giving me that one download, and that was the title, and waking me up, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? But ultimately, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, and that was
Mm-hmm.
become an anthology, a book of healing, books of
Yeah.
healing.
Yes.
Because I know that it will be many more to come with this series. But these stories, because I can't reach everybody,
Absolutely.
you can't reach everybody,
Exactly.
but collectively, we can reach the multitude,
Yes.
the masses. So
It's like throwing a rock into water, and it puddles out, further and further. You drop the anthology into the atmosphere, and people read stories, and then they can resonate, and then they can go to the next person, then they share, and then you understand that you're not by yourself when you're grieving, and what you're feeling, you shouldn't try to control it, or bottle it in. But I do want you to get Humble Precious question. Would you say acknowledging what's causing your grief is the first step to start healing, or just acknowledging that you are grieving altogether?
that's a great question. First, I will say acknowledging that you are grieving, because if you in denial, you ain't even finna go and say what I'm grieving about because you don't even think you're grieving.
Right.
So definitely start with acknowledging that you are grieving. And then from there, you can build on to that. Okay, I'm grieving. What am I grieving? Why am I grieving? And so forth and so forth. Give yourself grace. It is not a sprint, it's a journey, one moment at a time. And if you took one step and said, I don't want to do no more today, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
And I think it's great opportunity for people to connect with you, Lakecia, because what you're doing is helping so many people, to talk about it. Because for a lot of people, they can't even, it's almost like they want to hyperventilate when they start thinking about,
Yeah.
whether it's losing a loved one, whether it's divorce, whether it is, I knew they were going to die, but, I'm just sitting here watching, or it was something sudden and traumatic. And like you say, talking to somebody 3 hours one night, and next thing you know, boom, they're gone.
Mhm.
It is so many variations, but having a conversation
Yes.
can help. And so Cheryl says, exactly, and do not let anyone judge or minimize
Mhm.
your grief.
That's
That's
it
the
right
main
there.
thing.
That's it right there.
That's it right there.
That's it.
That's it right there. So,
Yes.
Lakecia, I know we're at the top of the hour. I want to give you a spotlight chance to share whatever it is you would like to share with anybody, when it comes to talking about grief, dealing with grief. She said, yeah, I took my first step for the month. I'll take another step next month. Hey,
And that's
hey,
okay, humble.
and that's okay.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you the time to, share how they can get your book, share, whatever you want them to know.
You know you got to I don't want no spotlight like
Girl, here you go.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Angela A. Love Lewis. You know I love you dearly. You all can reach me on all platforms. I'm gonna tell you my favorite platforms, which are Facebook and TikTok. Um, don't judge me. I'm still growing with Instagram, but you can reach me. I am Lakecia Lashun. DM me, text me, call me. I'm so easy and simplified. Also, you can get each one of my published books on Amazon. They are available on Amazon. And if you would like a signed copy, reach out to me. I got them on hand and I got you. I also host virtual support groups for grief. I have a still sibling circle, so that is for siblings. If you know siblings who are grieving, because sometimes siblings' grief gets overlooked or minimized, and we have to stop doing that. And so I host monthly support groups with siblings who are still grieving or going through their grieving process, or even don't even understand it. If you have lost a sibling, please reach out to me. I am also starting other grief platforms where we will be hosting support groups virtually. So stay tuned for that. I have a grief journal called Remember, Rise, and Reflect. It's a 90-day healing journey. So if you don't know where to start, this is a great book for you to obtain. And, you know, it has actionable steps where you can start your healing journey. If you're not ready to talk about it, it's okay. Wherever you are at in your grieving stage, it is totally okay. I will tell you that your trauma and your grief is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. Take your time, move on your time only, but just know that you are not alone. You have support when you are ready. And thank you, Angela.
Come on. That was so beautiful. Well put together. And I'm telling you, I love that you are creating support groups for different people, siblings and whomever, because
Yes.
sometimes people need to connect with people who are going through the same thing, because it's one thing to lose a parent, it's another thing to lose a child, and so you can't lump everybody's grief and say, okay, we all grieving, boom, get it together. It's different things that people need. And so I think it's beautiful to, offer those different groups for people to connect. Cheryl said, I was late, but I got what I needed. Amen. Amen.
I'm
And that's what it's all
grateful.
about.
Yes.
For
And I
sure,
just
for
want to
sure.
say one more thing before we end. Um, with grief is gonna always be complex and it's gonna be multiple layers. So don't think that you just gonna focus on one thing, the the death of someone or the loss of a divorce. It's when we break it down and uncover all of the layers. And I guarantee you it's multiple layers. So that's just something to sit with and think about. I love y'all. It's Friday night.
Yeah, whether you just got paid or not, baby, listen, marinate on this. And I'm telling you, this is one to go back and listen to because even the cadence of your voice, just that smooth, just, you know, it can help balance somebody who feels chaotic, like it's always something going on. Sometimes people just need to just have something smooth
You trying
in
to tell
order
me
for
I
it to,
need to do some meditation?
yeah, you better come on and yeah, don't play with me because I've been in, okay, where we at with the meditation thing at? Listen, come on, I'll do it. She didn't call me a pusher, but y'all know I push with love. I push with love. Yes. Thank you for being here and for sharing and being transparent and vulnerable, with everybody, because I think that, sometimes that's what people need to see, the real raw truth, so that they can absorb it and understand that, we all have various different things that we go through in life. But what it didn't do was stop you and keep you from living your life and walking through your purpose. So
Yeah.
thank you. And I love you.
I love you too, and I ain't showing up no other way. Real raw is what you will
That
always
now,
get.
hey, that I was getting ready to say now. If she ain't said nothing else, baby, she said that one because that's the truth. All right, everybody, we are done for week 2. Starting Monday, we are coming back with week 3. We are interviewing. This is the Becoming Her series. All the co-authors of Her, the anthology, Unshakable, Unbreakable, Unstoppable. So we'll come with another step because there's a total of 25 women. So this was a total of 5 weeks, 5 days, 5 weeks, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come back go back on my page and catch all of them and catch up so that when you come on Monday, you can start fresh. Because I'm telling y'all, each one of these ladies has came swinging and knocking home runs and all that. So this is the place to be if you want to understand what it means to become her. Thank you, Lakecia.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.